Next project time, welcome back to Christine's channel. After I buttoned up everything on the outside for the storage that we use when we open up the door, what we consider kind of dirty storage or outdoor storage, some people say garage. It is not big enough, I would call it a garage, it's just outdoor storage or dirty storage, where we have the camping stuff, chairs, things like that, that we would then get in and put into that storage. Things we don't get out all the time, tools, etc. Now that that's buttoned up, we're on to the next project, and that's an inside project here. In particular, I'm putting an upper cabinet in right here. This is the only place we have that we're going to be able to put in an upper cabinet because of the bed. Since this goes up and down, everything else is taken up except for this area right here. So I'm going to make an upper cabinet here. It's been raining so hard, I've got a little start on it. I tried to do an introduction earlier, but it was just pouring too bad. I don't think you could hear me at all. It hailed even, so it's been a good storm. What I've done is I've used 2 of the holes that were in the wall here already. I've put plus nuts in there. And now I'm building the frame. This is the bottom piece. It's going to be mounted here like so. Now, because the van wall is not perpendicular to the floor, I can't mount this flush straight out. It won't be square then with the countertop. So what I did then is I made these holes in this part here larger. These larger holes then will allow me to tilt that at a little bit of an angle so I can level this out here in relationship to the countertop and keep the cabinet itself level. I've got the base made here. Now what I'm going to do is mount it so I can make the braces going up the wall here. It'll be mounted into this wall, and then here I'm going to put a brace here and mount it all the way across to the ceiling to give it some extra support. Really, we shouldn't be putting anything too heavy in here, but just to give it the extra support we need, I am going to connect it up to the ceiling. So that's what we're doing right now. Let's keep going. Here's the basic frame now put up. I've got a plus nut into the ceiling here to give us some structure there. It does have a couple of screws into then this panel here on the side there. I did leave a little gap here so that way as the door opens and closes, this isn't likely to hit. Again, the plus nut's in the back here to hold that up. I still have to add the 1 bar here just because I want enough structure to add the outside here. Here's the side panel. It goes up onto the cabinet here. I've got it covered, and again, we've covered this before, but we use the Mimex polyacrylic. It dries quickly, it protects well. I mean, again, I like it for this type of stuff. I do like the satin finish, so it has a little shine to it, but it's not super bright. Again, it protects this wood. With this barn wood, it's actually pretty flaky. It's old enough and sat around enough that if you don't put some sort of coating on it, you can scratch right into it pretty easily. So this helps nicely. I've also got the bottom cut out here and putting a coat of, or we have a coat of stain on it. I'm going to add another one now here. This is just some poplar. We picked something with a lot of color to it because we have the red in there and the gray. That kind of will show that a little bit there. So I'm putting another coat of stain on that. And then I've got the part here. This is the cabinet itself. I still got to drill a few holes out and get it so we can mount then that in there and this on. And then for the stain, we use, again, a stain in poly. That way it protects it also, makes a nice coating to it. And that's what it's looking like. And here are the cabinets up. Got the side panel on. Got the lower panel in. Have the electricity for the light that's going to go down here and carry on for the upper light there. I ended up having to kind of just make something here for this part because I had to screw the panel in this way into the wood here. I couldn't have this mounted to start with. So I had to put this in afterwards, which means I had to find some way to kind of mount that. So I just took some aluminum and made a little bracket there. Got to add another bracket right along here, so that way I can put the face for the door, the header for the door. Since I don't know where the ceiling's going to come here, so the ceiling's going to come along here, don't know exactly what height it's going to be at, so I'm going to put a little header on here, and that way the door will open up. But I need to leave enough gap so when it opens, it won't hit the air conditioner and so forth. I'm going to add that part next. Here's the next 2 pieces. This is the door for the cabinet we're working on, and that's then the header piece. Got them polyacrylic and ready to mount up. I've got the header on here now, and then I need to mount the door. For the door, I'm going to use actually this vertical opening hinge here. I've never used one of these before, but it opens the hinge up obviously forward, which will work out just perfect here. So I want to look at these, figure out how to get these mounted, and see what we've got. So it comes with a template on where to mount the hinges there, instructions, and the hinge itself. It's got a nice little cover on it, and then there's the hinge. It has a number of adjustments on force, height, how far it opens. We'll get a start on this. What I'm making now is the mounting plate here for the hinge. In the cabinet, because of the frame, because it's made out of extruded aluminum, this has to sit flush. You know, it has to mount flush here while there's the frame in the way. So because of that, I have to make something for that to mount on. So what I'm doing is I'm just making, you know, again, a piece of 1x, and it'll be like so. And then this will mount onto the 1x frame, making a nice mounting spot. When I get this all put together, I'll show you in there. It'll make more sense. Here's the mounting bracket then. I haven't finished mounting it yet, but you can see now here's the idea, is that I have now, this can mount flush, so that way the hinge itself has something to mount to right along the edge. I also made it this way, that way I have some adjustment here, even though the hinge has some adjustment and I've got the template for it, hopefully it'll be just right on. Now I have the ability to move it up and down some also if I need to. Here's the template then. Line this up at the top, this on the edge of the cabinet here. And then you can see the marks where the screw holes go. Now that in itself isn't, there we go. The screw holes aren't as important just because these peg positions are. I'm gonna mark where these are and put a little indent there because there's indents or little places that stick out. There we go. On the hinge that will then sit into there. I'll put a pilot hole for where all those little screw holes are, so that way it screws together easier. Then here's the hinge mounted. See, it goes like so, and then has a soft close, and it even has some staying power close, so hopefully we won't need a latch then here to keep this from bouncing around. Okay, now we got the air off. You can hear. Here is the cabinet. The only issue I have, and there still might be a way to adjust it, I haven't figured it out yet, is it doesn't want to soft close as well as I would like if I have this lighter so it doesn't come open really hard. So it will close, but it takes a little bit for it to get all the way shut. And that lasts a little bit. So I'm gonna see if there's still a little more adjustment, but overall, it opens up and works just nicely. Now we have this upper cabinet done. The other part I did on it, the only other upper piece we're gonna have here is this little cubby. There really wasn't much room here, and we really just wanted a little cubby so that was big enough that we could slide the computer or tablets, books, things like that that we're traveling with. I still gotta add the little aluminum lip here. I did this just a little different than what we've done the other one, or than what we did for this one, and that's I did not put a full frame all the way down there. Because this is so small, I didn't think it needed the extra strength there. So I just put this and then glued this on and put some nails in there, and that should be enough to hold that. I then use a little L angle to screw it onto there, and then this has enough structure. It's also screwed through obviously here, but this gives us a nice opening to add, like I said, tablets, things like that, with just an easy one to slide them in and out without opening the door up. I thought about recessing this behind the aluminum so you don't see this face, so it was neater, but then I would lose an inch of space inside the cubby, which might not be a big deal, but sometimes every inch makes a difference. So I might finish covering this aluminum with an extra piece like this, so that way it finishes that off better. I'm not sure. We're going to see how this works first before I get too much further into that. Then lastly, I added the switch here on the bottom, and that is for this downlight here. So there's a downlight up in here. Let me turn this off so you can see it. There's a strip down light in there. It is the same light that we have up here, and then there's one over here. Now this switch has not been installed yet. It's just here. It's a temporary switch until I figure out where this switch is going to be, whether it's going to be in the bottom like this one is, or most likely somewhere when I build this cabinet for here, something in there. So now we've got a light on the bottom of the cabinet. We've got them in the closets, in the outdoor closets. This one here, which is on a switch. We have the one for the shower. And then also, now this one here, which lights up the indirect light here. So that's it for upper cabinets at this point in time. I think next I'm going to try to tackle finishing up the shower. I also have to put the cabinet door in there, build a drawer here, and the cabinet door for the toilet. And then all of this will be after that. Drawers here, drawer there, cabinet face, doors, and another drawer.